I mean, when we first invested in SoftIron, which is many years ago, I mean, one of the things that was really attractive to us was the fact that you were taking energy efficiency so seriously in the way that your product was designed and manufactured. I mean, why was that the case?
Well, number one, I should say I wasn't around back at that point, but my understanding, having talked that through a lot with the founders, is almost the energy efficiency is almost a byproduct of doing the job right the first time, of designing from the ground up with a specific task in mind, and stripping out everything which isn't required.
So removing the redundancy and the waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really started from this fundamental principle that we'd lost the ability to innovate in hardware as an industry. And a byproduct of innovating effectively is you create incredibly efficient designs because you're only thinking about one particular task at that moment in time. And it means that you can do things, for example, like choose absolutely the right processor for the job, so there's no wastage in the kind of processor you choose. And so those early products, and still a key part of our product range today, are based on ARM silicon, which I know you know very well, being from the Cambridge area. And it's optimized. That's unusual in a data center, and certainly it was extremely unusual when we first started SoftIron. But it's incredibly low power and processor, which happens to have the fantastic properties for building data storage in this case. Lots of I/O capability, input-output capability, so you can move this data in off and onto the storage medium very, very efficiently, and do very, very little else, because there's very little else you need to do. And so you can create that level of optimization, and then everything else on the board is only there to serve that one purpose. And so that's it's a byproduct. But now we're kind of a few more years down the line, and we have other designs using other kinds of processor for other specific tasks. You see the same thing through all the designs as well. So you can create something which is incredibly efficient at the job it's designed to do. I sometimes liken what we do to you're familiar with the Ariel car company, the Ariel Atom, which is actually from my part of the world, down in the West Country. It's designed to do one thing and one thing only, which is be a very fast car. And they've stripped everything away from that design, including the body panels, because they're not required to make it go fast. It's very task specific, and I'm sure it's incredibly uncomfortable, incredibly noisy, but it does one thing really well. Actually using a relatively small engine, but can outperform the kind of the fastest supercars for a fraction of the price, because it's task specific. So that's an analogy I sometimes use to what we're doing, and it comes from this fundamental rethink of going back to first design principles.